Hi, this video is a walkthrough intended to help you create your portfolio template for English classes at the University of New Mexico. The portfolio assignment is a huge part of your final grade in an English class in core writing at the University of New Mexico. So I'm going to have you get started on it early in the semester and add to it throughout the semester so that during finals week you're not scrambling to add everything because it does have a number of components. The best way to prepare is to certainly make sure you have the portfolio set up pretty closely to how I am going to explain it now. And you will also have a model on Canvas to work. It has all of the components that you're going to need, and you can kind of treat it like a fill in the blank as you go through the semester. On the first page, you're going to have an About Me section with 1 or 2 paragraphs to introduce yourself, and then after that, towards the end of the semester, we're going to be working on the learning plan. Just have a note for it. For each project, to include all of the work that you've done that you can share, but in particular, you're going to need to have the original and the revised version. For each assignment, I'm going to ask you to write a reflection. Those should be posted here at the end of every project, so this is where I'll come to look for it. And you're also going to, when you be revising these for the end of the semester, and then each of these student learning outcome reflections will be posted here, and these are links that take you to a page where you discuss what you have learned. So let's get started on the actual building of this website. The first thing you want to do is get a blank site. Ignore the rest of these. Unless you're very experienced with Google Sites, then go ahead. But I'm going to be talking about the blank one. So the first thing we're going to do is fiddle around with the themes. You're going to want to make sure your fonts match throughout the project because it looks unprofessional to have 100 different fonts or even 5 or 10 different fonts. You want to stick to like 2 or 3 that sort of complement one another. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Diplomat this time, and I'm going to make it green. So you can also kind of customize whatever color you want. So if I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, oh, this green, this is the green, this is much more my green. Oh, that's wrong. You can fiddle around with it. Change the font style here. And you can come over here and change the background image. So it kind of just depends on what you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and choose this typewriter. And it gives it a nice cast over the image, so it sort of stays thematic, which looks kind of cool to me. So I'm going to take note of what font this is, Playfair Display Bold. And I'm just going to go ahead, and this is where you should type your name. So we'll have sample student, but you should use your real name. If you did end up going on to 2 lines and you didn't like how that looked, you can drag the box out. You can also change the size of the font. It's up to you. Make sure it's centered because it's a title. And then up here, we're going to go ahead and type in English 1120 portfolio. So we have the basic part of our page ready to go. You can add a logo if you would like. Now we are going to get familiar with the insert section. So come over here to insert, and the first thing we're going to do is hit this first content block. This is the option to have an image and some text. You can move the image by taking the 4-pointed arrow and dragging it until it becomes a dark blue box, or light blue, whatever blue. And that'll allow you to switch the two. You can kind of move it all over the place. So first thing we're going to do is make this the About Me section. You'll notice that this is set as the title. You can also change it to a subtitle. You can do all kinds of changes. This is also set up as a title, so kind of just play around with it and decide how you want it to look. And here you're going to type a couple of paragraphs. And as you're looking at it, you can see that the font doesn't match. So we have, once again, I believe it is Playfair. So let's look at it and see Playfair normal. There it is, right at the top. So now it matches. That's always good to check. We can also add in an image here. So if you just click on it and go to select image, it'll give you a whole bunch of options. It'll give you your Google Drive images or your photos. You can also insert a link and you can search in Google Images. So we're just gonna pick a very blasé, there's the student, and insert that image. You can change the image ratio a little bit. You can make it fit so that the whole picture is there. And I also recommend that you keep your text boxes about the same size as your images. It looks better because this is supposed to be a website, and websites are supposed to look pretty good. So just bear that in mind. You can change the size of the image very easily. So you might be looking back at the home page and thinking, how do I get this keen header banner thingy here? Very easy to do. You hit a text box. If it appears anywhere, you just pick it up, see that four-sided arrow, and you drag it up to the dark blue, broad blue line, and you're going to type in welcome to my portfolio. I think we can capitalize my also, and we're going to go ahead and make this into a title, and then we're going to center it. So you come over here to the align area and you hit center. Then come over here to this little palette and hit section colors, and you can change how it looks if you want. So that looks goofy. There you go. If you want to, you can also make this bold, and I think that that looks really nice. So you can play around with the colors as much as you want. So underneath this, you're going to hit another text box. Oh, it's in the wrong place. Easily solved. We drag it down, and you're going to hit learning plan. So we're going to make the learning plan into a title, just like we did up here, so that they all match. And you can leave it like this if you want to, or you can put it over here because it's okay to go back and forth with main sections. And we're going to add in another content block here, and this is where your learning plan will go. And if you would try to remember to change your fonts so that you don't have to worry about later. So this is fine for now. This is the home page. We're going to move over to the pages section, and we're going to start adding in pages. This is very easily done. You just click this little button here and it'll hit new page. So click it and you can type in project 1 : rhetorical analysis, because that's what project 1 is. And you can get this information directly from the sample or even from the syllabus. So right now we're looking at this one, and we have a few things that we want to get onto this page. So to really save yourself some time, you go back up to the first of your pages, and we're going to go ahead and set it up, and then we're going to duplicate just a couple more times, but that'll save us the trouble of having to set up every page individually. So we know for this, we are going to want an introduction line. So I'm going to come over here and introduce a text box. Introduction. Under the introduction, what do we have? A little bit that we're writing about. So then I'm going to put another text box. And briefly, what I want is for you to describe this is all I'm looking for an introduction. Mostly to kind of humanize the document that's about to follow. And maybe I would change this and make it bigger. Kind of is up to you. You feel it out. Then what do I have? I have a text box. So, or a content block. After this, content block. And this is where my revised rhetorical analysis is ultimately going to go. But a lot of people get confused thinking that I mean the revision after you get it back from peer review. I don't mean that. I mean the revision after you get it back from me. So this is where you will put your feedback after you get it from me. And then under that, another one, and we're going to move the picture just so it's not boring. And this will be where you put your original. So hopefully that makes sense. And you have, this is the basic setup for the page. Underneath that, if you want to, like if there were notes that you took, if there was a peer review that you got feedback on that was really helpful, whatever you want to post down here is up to you. You can totally post that. So we have the bare bones of this. Now this looks, what is that, title? Let's go ahead and change this from subheading to title, just so it looks like the rest of them because it looked silly. Anyway, now what we're going to do is go back over to pages, and I'm going to go to the second page. I'm going to go to the properties. I'm going to hit copy. Then I'm going to delete this page. Then I'm going to go back up to project 1 page, and I'm going to hit duplicate this page. And then I'm going to paste that new one. And now when I go to page 2, it already has all this stuff from the first one. So I don't have to set it up all over again. And I'm going to just change this to research paper. Easy, easy. And probably should change it up here too. And this thing lives to vex me. So I'm going to change it to a title. Okay, it's good. So that is the basics for that. You can duplicate it one more time to make project 3, which is the argument paper. Okay, so we've got these. We can fix that later. You can fix it on your own. I'm not gonna walk you through how to change some typing, but we are going to do the next page. So we have 2 more pages to deal with. So the next page is going to be the project reflections. And then the page after that is going to be the student learning outcome reflections. We'll just call it the slow reflections. Okay, so if you want to change the order of it, you kind of just grab it and move it up. I typically have it as homepage, which is where your learning plan will go, and then project 1, project 2, project 3, project reflections, and student learning outcome reflections. So let's quickly look at the project reflections page on the sample. And basically it's just text boxes saying this is where I'm going to put my reflections, and I'm actually just gonna like copy this, and you're welcome to do that also. And I'm going to insert a text box, and after that you have the project 1 rhetorical analysis reflection. So we're just gonna, and I have these in different text boxes to ostensibly make it easier to edit them. And we're just going to do one more. And this is kind of a placeholder at this point. Goodness. Okay, so now I'm going to deal with the font. And now once again, you can duplicate it. Pull this over so you can see. So this little double piece of paper thing, if you hit that, it'll just duplicate it. And then you can just go back through again and change so that the, so the information is correct. So I'll do that now. And the same thing goes for this little placeholder text that you have. I'm not going to necessarily require that you change the writing, but you would just move that up underneath, and now you have this page all set up. Huzzah! The last page is the only one that's like a little bit tricky. So there's different ways of doing this. One way to do this is the way that I do it is I put links on this first page and then I do sub pages. So if you go over here, you can add a sub page. So when you get to the slow reflections, you want to do add a sub page, and you're just going to title it Student Learning Outcome A, or even just A, doesn't matter. And then I would just say copy this and hit done, and then add another sub page, because if you're in 1120, you're going to be adding sub pages to this for a minute. So, you know, Control V, and then change it to B, and so on and so forth until you get to J. You can also hit duplicate page here so that you don't have to hit the sub page. It's kind of almost the same amount of clicking and doing, but maybe it'll make you feel better. Okay, so we're going to ignore these individual pages for now, and we're going to go back to the reflections page. Setting this up now will save you a lot of time later, I think. So what you're going to do is you're going to insert a text box. And this is to make it look like mine, which I think looks kind of neat. So what you'll do is you're going to type in A, and then you're going to type in the actual student learning outcome, which you can get from a syllabus or from each of the individual pages. It just depends on what makes you happy. Paste it here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, which I think will look really nice, and I did already, and it does, I think, look nice, is I'm going to change this whole situation to the correct font. So I'm just going to leave it as a heading and then change the font size from 20 to 14 specifically on the text. That seems to be the solution I'm coming up with here. Don't worry, the next ones will be easier. So then you're going to highlight A, and you're going to hit this little link button here, and you're going to go to Student Learning Outcome A, click on it, and hit apply. Then when the website is live, if you go to A, I'll show you here. If you go to this link and hit A, it'll take you to that page. It's easier to copy the text off of these pages than it is off of that page for whatever reason. And then we're going to go over to pages because we already have this text copied and ready to paste. You're just going to go ahead and do that now to get it done. And then I'm going to insert the text again. And I'm not going to mess with that right this second. Oh my gosh. So then, just to get this going a little more, when you go back to your slow reflections page, you can really easily duplicate this as many times as you want and actually change it to the correct student learning outcome for each one. So we will go back to slow A, head to slow B, and copy and paste this, and head back over here and hope for the best. The font ended up being 12, so I'm going to change it to 14 so that it matches the one above it. And then you have to change this link. So you're going to hit the, highlight it, hit the link button again, and just go down to B, same thing, apply it, and while you have the information for student learning outcome B copied, you can hit the text box, and there you go, you have it on there. So you'd want to complete that for all of the different student learning outcomes. I went ahead, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate on this page. And because this, I think, is a nice look, all you do is duplicate it, and then if you come over here and click on it, it'll give you these dots here, and you do the decrease or increase of the indentation here. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to D. I'm going to head over to reflection D. I'm going to copy the text, and I have them italicized. Don't forget to add a period in, always check for that. And I'm going to go ahead and add in the link, which is going to be Tutor Learning Outcome D. And now the last thing that I did is I just changed the color slightly, like I showed you at the beginning, to style 2, and that's all I've done there. So hopefully this will help you to set up your portfolio template. Once you have your whole template set up, the last thing you want to make sure you do is publish it. If you don't publish it, if you just send me this link up here, I'm not going to be able to access it at all, because the only person who can access this before it's published is you or someone logged into your Gmail account. So if you send me this link, it is of no use at all to me. So what you need to do, or to you, because you can't get credit for it because I can't see it. So you want to hit the word publish up here in the right hand corner, and you should try to, after you get your website set up, you'll want to treat this like a save button. And you're going to want to type in something simple, you know, your first name, anything like that. As long as they give you the green check mark at the end, it'll be fine. And then you'll hit publish, and you're gonna send me this link once it's published. Okay, so you have to hit publish. The other thing you want to do is keep in mind, so let's see, I just added slow D, right? You guys were there with me for this. And if I go to my project reflection or my slow reflection page, it's not there. That's because I haven't published it yet. You can't see that it's not there, but there's like no scroll bar on the side, and the page just ends after C. So if I go back over here to my sample page and I hit publish, it's almost like hitting the save button, and it'll show the before and after. So this ends at C and this one goes on to D. And if I hit publish, in a few minutes, it'll update and the new one will be here. But if I don't hit publish, then none of my changes have been saved in like the website itself. They've been saved on Google Drive or on Google Sites, but that doesn't do me any good if I'm trying to turn in work on time. You have to hit publish. So try to emphatically say that, but a lot of people miss these last few steps. So let me go and see if it's updated this yet. And now D is here, so that's great. And you can necessarily see it because it's off screen, but I have a scroll bar now. So that is the end of my tutorial on how to create and publish a Google site, and I hope that you have found it useful. If you do have any questions about any of this, please be sure to leave a comment or send me an email. That's it.